They talk about the boom, but do they mention the bust? The headlines scream luxury, but the numbers don't lie. It's time to look the market straight in the eye. Welcome to the Miami Condo Exchange, where we break down the price, the scope, and the range. With Peter Zalewski, the authority here, making the complex simple, making the murky clear. From the buy-side pressure to the sell-side heat, we're tracking every move on the concrete street. We got the data, the stats, the metrics you need. Beyond the flash and the glamour, we're planting the seed of truth. We analyze the trends, we map out the spread. Is it vintage charm or a money pit trap? We're looking at the analytics, closing the gap. Past performance, present shock, future prediction. Separating hard reality from the friction of fiction. No sugarcoating, no fluff, no disguise. Just the raw condo numbers right before your eyes. South Florida is shifting, the tides start to turn. If you don't know the math, you're gonna get burned. Yeah, this is the Miami Condo Exchange. Welcome to the Miami Condo Exchange, where we break down the price, the scope, and the range. With Peter Zalewski, keeping it real, digging deep in the dirt of every single deal. From the buy-side pressure to the sell-side heat, the only podcast you need on the Miami street. Hey. Real numbers, real talk. The hyperbole stops here. This is the Miami Condo Exchange, y'all.
Happy Tuesday, Miami. This is the Miami Condo Exchange, a podcast about what's going on statistically in the Tri-County, South Florida area of Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County. What are we talking about today? We're talking about how potentially Palm Beach County might have peaked for the winter buying season. Remember, winter buying season goes from November through April. This time that everybody comes to town to shop for condos. They might not come here thinking they're going to be buying a condo, but they come here for vacation. They come here for an event. They come here to go on a cruise ship. They fall in love with the area. They fall in love with the weather. And they say, you know what? Maybe we should look for a condo. What we had been seeing is Palm Beach County was spiking. It was surging. Well, we got a pullback this week. What we're also going to be discussing is Miami-Dade County, kind of flat, vintage, pulled back. Vintage are those condos 30 years or more. And they pulled back. Overall was up slightly. But who was really the winner this week? Broward County. Broward County's been the laggard. They are the worst performing condo market in Tri-County, South Florida area of Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County. Not this week. This week, Broward County was improving significantly. We saw proportionally an increase in pending sales. And we saw a pullback in active listings. And as a result of that, it offering some insight as to what's going on in the Broward County market. From what we can see, from what we can gather, given the fact that there's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace, whether it has to do with what's going on with Iran, whether it has to do with what mortgage rates are like. Remember, last week, they dipped down to 5.99%. Today, they're up to 6.13% because of higher risk associated with the U.S. economy, as well as just the debt and everything that's outstanding. But Broward County seems to be going on. And why is it going on? Why is it happening? You're probably seeing sellers finally start to take our advice, which we've been telling them for quite some time, is to be bold, cut your price if you actually need to get out, if you're cash strapped, if you're basically, collapsing under the pressure, financial burden of limiting some of these condos. And that's really what's playing out thus far, at least this week. So that's what we'll be talking about. We're going to get into greater detail. I'm going to show you some charts. I'm going to show you some numbers. But before I do, let me tell you who I am. My name is Peter Zalewski. I'm a condo consultant, expert witness, and I'm also the founder of the Miami Condo Investing Club. Miami Condo Investing Club is a community that we're building We started back in 2024 to try to provide real-time information for those people who are interested in the condo market. So it doesn't matter if you're a DIYer, you want to do it on your own. Doesn't matter if you're a buyer working with a realtor. Doesn't matter if you're a realtor, you're a regulator, you're a lender, you're a gadfly. If you're looking for condo information, I'm very confident in telling you that we're putting out some of the most real-time, active, insightful information on the Tri-County condo market of anybody in this particular area. So if that's something that appeals to you, we'd encourage you to go ahead and check us out. You can get more information at miamicondo.club. One of the features that we offer with the club is that we do a monthly meeting in which I tell you where we are, where we were, where we're going. We always do that on the second Wednesday of every month. That means basically in about 8 days, we're going to be doing our March monthly meeting. It'll start at noon. It'll go to about 1:15 or so. If you're a club member, you get to watch it live and you're getting that real-time analysis in terms of statistically. This is not a Chamber of Commerce industry-approved organization. This is an organization that sort of cut through and gives you the straight talk. We are living in a world of hyperbole. We're living in a world of all kinds of different truths. And what we do is we just take the data, we analyze it, we put it out there, and you use that information for whatever it is you want to do. Whether you're buying, whether you're a listing agent, you took on some listings, they're not selling, you don't know what the hell to do. You spent $2,500 getting the listing going because you got drone videos and social media marketing, and you're showing up every single time somebody wants to take a look at the property. You got to pay the valet, you got to deal with the traffic, and it's not selling. Well, maybe some of the information we provide over at the Miami Condo Investing Club will help you to figure out which listing do I want and which one should I avoid. That's one of the things that we do. We also do tours. Every Saturday, I do a tour. I lead a tour. I take people through a different condo market. I give them a handout of all the condos that exist in that particular market. We walk the market, typically about 4 miles or so. Takes about 3 hours. We go at a moderate pace. There's stops along the way. I teach you how to analyze condo buildings. I give you the real-time information on each condo building, and you also get in your steps. It's always a good time. It's always fun. And I will tell you, if you take the condo tours week after week after week, you're going to have a real great perspective of what's going on. Why do I bring up the tours at this point? Because we just released our final 9 tours of the winter buying season. Again, winter goes from November through the beginning of May. So we just put them out. And if you are interested in any of these markets, I'd highly recommend you check out these tours as we get into the summer. Our schedule changes a little bit. Why? Because you got to worry about heat. You got to worry about humidity. You got to worry about rain. Got to worry about hurricane warnings. So the tours will not be going on as regularly. We'll have some here, we'll have some there, but really winter's really the time. So if there are any markets you're interested in, I'd encourage you to sort of sign up and take the tours now within the next 60 days, because that's probably going to be your best shot. Is it the right time to buy? Who's to say? But at least if you have the information, you can understand, you can analyze, you're probably going to have a better chance of making a decision, going in there with the eyes wide open. And remember, you make your money on the buy, not on the sell. If you buy right, you're going to be okay. If you buy wrong, you're going to be like many of these people who came down in 2021. They bought condos because they were led to believe that they could work from home. That's what the companies told them. They also didn't have to wear a mask because there were state-mandated mask requirements in different states. Let's call them blue states. And in Florida, you didn't have to. So people flooded into the market. They submitted multiple offers on condos, and the lucky winner got to overpay on a condo. Many of those individuals got called back out, whether it be to Wall Street or they got called back to Silicon Valley to work on AI. Now they're trying to unload their condos, and they're not selling. They're not selling at all. So the people are trying to turn around and rent out the unit. And you know what? When they rent out the unit, the tenant that comes in, it's not even getting close to covering the rent. Therefore, owners are subsidizing renters to live in some of these so-called luxury condos. So this is how you use the information. This is why the information can be valuable, and we encourage and welcome everybody to come on and join the club, miamicondo.club, or take one of our tours, miamicondoclub.eventbrite.com. So let's go ahead. Let's get into the current state of what's going on in South Florida based on the South Florida Overall Condo Cliff Index, or the South Florida Vintage Condo Cliff Index. What's the difference? Well, when Surfside collapsed back in June of 2021, the Champlain Tower South, nearly 100 people died. There ultimately was $1 billion settlement paid out to the families of the victims. The insurance industry, in my opinion, lobbied the legislature. The legislature pushed forward all kinds of new restrictions and requirements. One of the key aspects of this requirement is understanding what buildings are. Where do they stand? Are they safe? How much money is going to be necessary in order to maintain them so we don't see a repeat of Surfside 5 years ago? So what did they do? They put in place requirements where you have to do a structural integrity reserve study. This is a study done every 10 years. You got to do it every 10 years. And also at year 30, when a building hits that 30-year milestone, they're going to have to do something called a milestone inspection. That's really an in-depth, deep study to figure out what it is, what it's going to cost to maintain it. In the past, a condo association could and would do a study, primarily because the insurance company asked it. And when the results came in, the association may or may not have decided to go ahead and do the work. Now, they not only have to do the work, but they have to collect money in the forms of reserves, and or they got to take out a loan in order to pay for it. A lot of banks don't want to finance these condo association construction loans, these restoration loans. So what the associations are being forced to do is go to Wall Street, private lenders, where interest rates can be 9, they can be 10, they can be 11%. Mortgage rates right now are coming in at 6.13. So an additional 3 points and or 50% higher for some of these loans. And that is creating all kinds of havoc. That is raising the cost of living in a condo. And therefore, longtime unit owners, they are heading for the exits because they simply can't afford to live in these condos any longer. At the same time, many corporate landlords, let's call them REITs, REIT, or real estate investment trusts, those REITs are undercutting individual unit owners who might be trying to rent. Why? Because the REITs put up so much product when interest rates were effectively nothing. They were able to put up a bunch of product. It's effectively the Walmart going into a small town and killing that small town retailer because Walmart simply has the bandwidth, the tonnage to be able to call its shots and do what it wants to do. And that's really what we're seeing right now in the condo market. And as a result of that, when we came into the winter buying season, what we were telling everybody is, listen, those people need to get out the first half of the winter buying season, November through effectively February 1st. Those people who had to get out, they would be bold, they would cut prices, and they would simply move along. Then we got to the second half of the winter buying season. Those people who were confident on the first half, they maybe would have to pivot. They maybe would have to change their opinion. And most likely they would have to lower their price. Well, we're finally seeing it. We're finally seeing the pricing. At least that is our best guesstimate. Why is it a guesstimate? Because final data for the first quarter, remember the first quarter goes from January through end of March. It's not coming out till the middle of April. So by the time you get the data from the first quarter, the moment we're standing in right now, it's going to be April. It would have already passed. Think about how they track it on Wall Street. You got the indexes. You got the Dow Jones. You got the NASDAQ. That's telling you where you are day in and day out. And unemployment numbers, that tells you where you were. So when you get closed sales data, that's where we were. That's not telling you where we are right now today if you're an investor or if you're a seller. And that's why we created our index. We created two indices. One is overall. This is all condos. The other one is vintage. These are the older ones, at least 30 years old. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to talk about South Florida. We're going to talk about Miami-Dade County. We're going to talk about Broward, and we'll also talk about Palm Beach County. So what you should know is in addition to that, remember, overall as well as vintage. So while we're effectively going to be talking about 4 on the overall, 4 markets, and then 4 on the vintage. In addition to that, we track an additional 19 other markets, including Coconut Grove, Coral Gables, Key Biscayne, Greater Delta Miami, North Bay Village, Hollywood Hallandale, Aventura, Pompano Beach, Delray Beach and Boynton Beach, and even West Palm Beach and Palm Beach Island. Any of you who watch this podcast regularly, remember I do this particular podcast, the one about the data. I do it every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We always live stream it. We then make it available after some edits later on in the afternoon or in the early evening. Then it'll be on demand, and you'll have to be a member of the club. Remember, MiamiCondo.club in order to get access to that. But because you're watching live, you're getting it. But every weekday, I do a live podcast. It's always a different angle or a theme. Tuesdays is always going to be statistics. It's always going to be data. It's always going to be that type of stuff. So that's a big picture idea of what's happening. That's a big picture idea of where we're going. And now we're going to show you what the data shows. Again, real-time data. By the time we're proven correct or incorrect, it's not going to be till April. Not going to be till April. But what it is it's telling you which markets are hot and which markets are weak. Now, I'm going to pull up some charts, line charts, and you're going to see all kinds of stuff going on. And what I want you to remember is if it's high, that means the pending sales are outpacing the new listings. Pending sales is simply something under contract. It will then close 30 or 60 days from now. A new listing is somebody trying to get out, somebody trying to unload their property. Now, when the active listings are higher than the pending sales, that suggests a weaker market. So if the number's going down, that means there's more active listings than pending sales proportionally. And if the number's going up, there's more pending sales than active listings. So all that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the line charts. Let me pull it up right now. We're going to share it with you guys. and give you all a great sense of what's happening. So we're opening it up. And the first thing you're going to see is a plug for our tour on Saturday. This Saturday, we're going to be doing the Central Business District of Greater Downtown Miami. This is a market that is will have 14,000 condos. Today, 10,000. They're building 4,000 units as we speak. They're going to grow that market by effectively 40%. What is that market? That market is going to go from the General Douglas MacArthur Causeway south to the Miami River. Then it's going to be from Biscayne Bay west to Interstate 95. It's a relatively small market, and they're putting up a ton of units, including 1,000 units in two buildings in projects called the 11. 1,000 units on one block. And let me tell you, traffic is going to be absolutely perfect and nice and suave and easy to navigate. And I'm being a little sarcastic. So if you're looking for a condo opportunity or a situation going forward, I would tell you expect deep discounting to occur in and around the Central Business District. And this is your shot to come out there and walk the market, understand the market. I'll give you a list of all the condo projects. I'll tell you some of the history. I'll tell you about this developer, that developer. I'll also give you all the dirt on the developers, what's on the street. I'll attribute stuff to newspapers because some of these developers are a little bit thin-skinned and they get a little bit pissed off. But I'll be laying out all the information that the Chamber of Commerce doesn't tell you. So if that sounds interesting to you, go to MiamiCondo.club. You'll see tours at the top, or go directly to the ticket broker, which is called MiamiCondoClub.eventbrite.com. Now, let's get into line charts. Now we're going to show you exactly what we're seeing. Remember, week over week over week. Last week, we were talking about how Palm Beach County was flying. There's a little plug for the Condo Investing Club. Here's a little plug for if you are a sell-side broker, you're somebody looking to list a condo and your condo's not selling. You're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Well, sometimes if you get straight talk on the information, you get a better sense as how to get in and how to get out. Nobody wants to be that person taking a 6-month listing and basically having it fail. And then the next broker downstream, when the seller says, yeah, you don't know anything, they give it to another broker, and that other broker says, listen, you got to cut the price if you want to move. So the second broker is able to take advantage of all of your hard work as the original listing broker because you were maintaining that stiff upper lip. This is how information that we put out can be helpful to you if you're a listing agent. So we're going to scroll down. Here's just a little plug for all our podcasts. Remember, 4 o'clock weekdays. I do this 5 days a week. I'm putting out a podcast. Tomorrow, by the way, I'm doing the Peter Zalewski Show. It's a business show that I do every Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And you know what we have on? We have Michael Pappas. He is the owner of Kai's Company. What's Kai's Company? Kai's Company is a real estate brokerage that was set up, you know when? 100 years ago, during the great Florida land boom and ultimately bust of the 1920s. We're going to be talking to Mike about what's going on historically in the market in the last 100 years. We're going to talk about what happened way back in the day when it was first set up in downtown Miami, when all hell was breaking loose and everybody was flooding into Miami. And that's when the Magic City was basically created because it magically just appeared out of nowhere. We're going to talk about all that tomorrow, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So I would encourage everybody to sort of check that out. You're probably going to enjoy it. Let me continue on down. Let's get to our line charts. Oh, here's a plug for our index. And just don't pay attention to any of this. As I scroll down, we're going to get all the way to the bottom. And here we go. Let me pump this up a little bit in size so everybody's able to see it a little bit better.